Today's video has warmed my heart. It's an interview with a client of mine called Tony, who at the age of 16 has signed 2 SMMA clients. This video does not serve the purpose of me trying to push my program or sell anything. I want this video to serve the purpose of providing inspiration and motivation to those of you who are yet to sign your first client, who are going through the ringer and really suffering through the outreach. Tony is a special guy. I love him to bits. I've followed his journey very closely. He's been working with us for quite some time. And honestly, this one really hit home for me. I've done a lot of interviews with clients who've got results, but this one, it meant a lot, and you'll see it in this video. Tony's going to basically explain like his mindset, how he signed his first client, what his niche is, what outreach methods he used. Towards the end of this video, I do explain how program works. So if you don't want to be pitched, if you don't want to buy anything, you don't have to. You can click off before that happens. All right. So I just want to be fully transparent with you there. I don't want this to be like a Trojan horse thing. I truly just want this to be a video that helps you and provides inspiration. So just a heads up, there is a slight pitch at the end, very subtly. I just want you to be aware of that. All right. Let's get into the video. I'm super excited. It's going to serve a lot of people well. Tony, how old are you?
I just turned 17 like 3 days ago.
All right. I'm still going to say you're 16 because it's shinier.
For sure. Yeah.
How you doing, man?
I'm incredible. Oh, well, I just skipped my history class to come on this interview with you. Priorities, you know.
Well, it makes me happy. As you can probably tell by the title for anyone watching, Tony here is, well, he's just turned 17, so he was 16 when he signed his first SMMA client. And I mean, obviously that's quite a big deal. So I thought we could just talk about it. So let's go for that. So
for sure.
First of all, mate, like you mentioned you feel incredible. Tell me a little bit more about how the hell you feel. Like how when you got that first payment, like...
Yeah. So, man, I was on the call. It took like... Of course, I'm using the Zoom free version, so the meeting ended. We had to start a new meeting. It was such a mess, but you know, at the end, the guy just said, yeah, it says the setup fee's been paid. And I'm like, what? You really paid, man? You know? And then we had some small talk for 5 minutes, and I just went into the kitchen and screamed for like 10 minutes straight, burned like 300 calories, legit. Got some fever, really.
What did you say about calories?
I burned like 300 calories in that time, just being so ecstatic, you know. Yeah. So
tell me, I want to know the story here from sort of A to Z. So just to contextualize the interview here, Tony's a member of EasyGrow, our program. This interview doesn't serve the purpose of me selling EasyGrow or pushing it. We're not going to try, and there's no agenda here. But I want this video to serve as inspirational motivation to anybody else who is young and trying to sign their first client and basically just get a foothold in the market. And I'm well aware of your struggles and parts of your story because obviously we've worked quite closely. And I see a lot of myself or my past self in you in terms of building. So tell me the story. We'll start from the beginning. How did you get into SMMA? Why did you get into SMMA?
It's such a cliche story, you know.
Tell me, mate. I'm down for a cliche story. It's fine.
16-year-old Tony sitting in front of his PC, you know, eating some popcorn, watching YouTube. Average junkie, you know, doing absolutely nothing, watching some random videos. And then the man himself, Iman Gaji, pops up on his recommended. So, you know, I watched a video about SMMA. It was about 30 minutes. And it really clicked in me, you know. I could feel that this is my thing. I just got out of my chair and said, damn, this is what I'm going to do, man. Out of all the business models, drop shipping, everything in that sector, SMMA really sparked my interest. And I started digging a little. So after like 2-3 weeks, you came onto my feed. So I watched a couple of your videos, and I have to say, man, you're pretty different from everybody else. You're not just talking about the shiny objects, LEM list emails, such things, you know.
Big red flag right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just talking about the psychology behind everything, and that's what got me interested. So one day, just like out of nowhere, I just went in and booked a call with you, with one of your team members, just for the fun, actually. And everything else is history, man. I got onboarded. It was pretty nice story. I mean, a 16-year-old, how much cash could he have saved, but I still got onboarded, so rest is history.
Who was it that who closed you? Which member of the team? Was it Jack?
Sebastian.
Seb. Yeah, of course it was Seb. Yeah, he talks about you all the time. Well, that's good. So why? Okay, so you're a 16-year-old kid. That sounds condescending, but at that point of your life when you are watching Young Gadget's video, why go down the SMMA route, or why go down the route of having a business at all instead of the whole 9-to-5 thing, normal life? Why do you want to push? Why do you want to put yourself through so much pain?
Because I know I'm better for sure. I know I'm standing out. Having a client at the age of 16, is already proving a point. But I've always done things much easier than other people. Being at school, people study for like 5 hours for a test. I just go in and between classes study for 5 minutes and get an A. I know I'm good at stuff, and I can pull things off if I really put my mind and soul to it. Mm-hmm. So the idea of a 9-to-5 is really just disgusting to me. I cannot believe that one day I'm going to do such things. It's ridiculous, and I cannot see myself in such position. And that's why. I mean, I tried drop shipping before I was 14, something like that. I spent like $30 on an Instagram ad, and that was all. Of course, it didn't work, but still, I had a go at it. And then SMMA came, and yeah.
Makes sense. So, what I want to know, because I want to set some expectations for anyone watching this, how much outreach did you have to do to sign your first client?
That's a really cool story, man. So,
walk me through. I want to. Obviously, it'd be good to have a specific number, but because I know that you've worked extremely hard for a prolonged period of time to sign this first client.
That's a bit. That's an interesting story. So, I've been a part of EasyGrow for like 8-9 months. Let's say 8. Mm-hmm. And for the first 6 months, I really didn't do anything. It was just justifying, and procrastinating. Mm. I watched some videos, but, really didn't put my soul into this. And after 6 months, I just looked back. And actually, one of your recommendations was to get this book.
Oh, yeah, Seneca.
This gorgeous thing. After reading it, I just looked back 6 months and I was like, what the fuck, man? I just wasted 6 months. I just threw them away, Yeah. And I almost had a cry.
For reference, that's On the Shortness of Life by Seneca. It's a book that's probably about 30 pages long. It's like the biggest anti-procrastination book going. But yeah, carry on, man.
For sure. So I read it, and literally it was just a click in my paradigm and my mindset. So started watching some more videos, coming home from school, going to the gym real quick so I can hop on my PC at like 4 p.m. And start doing everything cold calling. I went through so many cold calls, but in my niche it didn't go that well. But I was really into cold calling. I really loved the idea of sitting down for 4 hours and talking to random people. I really enjoyed it. I see a lot of people not enjoying it, but I really liked it. Yeah. And the client thing came when I started doing looms. This is all that Charlie is being praised about, his loom systems, but I don't know, it didn't really spike my interest that much in the beginning, but I just decided to have a go at it. So I did, and man, meetings are flowing. They're literally flowing. And I could say that a month of hard work, like really hard work. It's extremely painful. I've been at 5 hours of sleep almost every day because I'm setting up my looms up until 1-2 a.m. Mm-hmm. And I have to wake up at 7, to go to school. But still, it was so much pain, and it paid off, definitely.
So the 6 months, because I thought you've been working really hard for like 9 months. So the fact that you did it in 1 month is obviously more impressive. But let's talk about what niche you're in. Is it who do you work with?
It's med spas, estheticians, clinics.
Med spas. Yeah. So this is the thing, dude. Like everyone thinks the med spa niche is broken, and like, yeah, it's harder, but you can still do it.
I mean, it's a difficult niche, I must admit. Seeing so many results in the EasyGrow group with realtors, you know, man, people just hop in with realtors, and in 2 weeks they have a client.
Ask me if you should switch or something.
I asked you like 7 different times.
And I was like, fucking no, mate.
Hoping to get, you know, I was just putting it every single way in a different kind of aspect so I can get that little push from you to say, maybe you should switch. But no, you said no with a dot at the end.
So for context, I'm actually going to see if I can find, if you don't mind, I'll see if I can find the post. Because I think this will also just given someone, anyone who's watching this, like some idea as to what you've been through. If I can pull up, are you okay with me doing that? And
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So if I just share here, I'm assuming that this will be recorded, and if it's not, key in Mr. Video Editor. If you can just like, you know, let me know. I'm assuming it's recording. Yeah, it looks like it is. So. First of all, this was 6 days ago when you got the client.
Yeah.
So do you mind me sharing the value of the client, or the setup fee?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So this one was for 500 USD. Now, here's the thing. The feeling because if anyone who hasn't yet signed that first client, the feeling you get when you sign that, you will never ever have that ever again. Like, it will never ever feel that good. And yeah. I remember when I signed my first one, and like it's suddenly like, shit, I can actually make my own money.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, oh my God, like I can actually do this, like I can support myself. So that was that. But let's see if we can find this, because this was fun. This is what I noticed, right? Where you posted this, right? And anyone who wants to read this properly can pause the video. But you were saying, I'm booking 5 to 6 meetings a week. I can't close. Like, you know, I've got these problems. It really hurts. Money's getting stolen from me because of my poor closing skills. The pain is huge. Like, blah, 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 blah. Like, and you post this, and I'm pretty sure, like, a couple of hours later, you post this.
Bro, so, literally, it was 30 minutes after I posted the pain post that I got the client. I just waited a couple of hours to process everything and make it into a post. Yeah. It was literally half an hour after that post, you know.
Exactly. And like, so I'm just going to try and find, because you've been very active in the community. But I'm pretty sure there's a post somewhere in here where you're asking about.
Yeah, the med spas one.
Yeah, so I think it's this one here. Mm-hmm. Where you're like, you spent talking about niche, and then I'm pretty sure I was just like, stick with it.
I love your replies, man. I love them so much.
I do get quite blunt sometimes, but that's the thing, is like, you need, like, it needs to just be like, you know, stick with it. So anyway, because you also had a problem with your show up rate with the cold calls, so like, you've been through the fire pretty much. But anyone, like, this is the thing about niche switching and stuff like that, like, just don't do it. If anyone, you just like, I always say to someone, like, if you want to switch niche, get to 10 grand a month and then switch, because then fine, because you've proven it. So you sign the first client, $500 setup fee, 16-year-old kid, obviously, you know, that's a lot of money for you. And then you signed another one, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like, so you signed another one like yesterday?
Yeah, we were supposed to have the call yesterday, but we couldn't. And like, I don't know if it was after we were supposed to have the call, but I had so it was supposed to be a follow-up call with a client that I couldn't close on the first call, you know, which is my poor closing skills. But still, she showed up 30 minutes late. I was like, she's not going to show up.
Yeah.
We're just watching some YouTube, you know, procrastinating on my PC. And then I get an email from Zoom that she's joined my meeting 30 minutes after the beginning of the meeting, you know. I'm like, sure, I'm going to go in. Why not? We talked for 30 minutes and yeah, she's in. And I'm like, what? She's in, man. And I actually signed her for 500 UK pounds. So that's even more money.
Yeah, so
than
it's like
United States dollars.
50 USD. So that's like another setup fee.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So this is what you'll start to find is it's kind of like it's like I don't know the best way to describe it is kind of like starting an SMMA is like starting a really old car. Like you're turning the key and it doesn't start, and then suddenly after like all these fucking attempts, it goes clunk. And then clunk, 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 and then clunk, and then it just starts like properly. And I found that exactly the same trajectory when I signed my first client. The second one wasn't far behind, and then the third one, and then the fourth one, and then you have this flywheel. Did the second one feel as good as the first one?
Absolutely not. I was just like, we went off the call, and I was like, yeah, that's a second client. Yeah. You know, nothing like the first one. Really nothing.
No calories burned. So,
yeah.
So tell me, I think it'd be useful for everyone to know this. What advice would you give to people who are who were in the same situation as you? You know, young dudes who are just like going through the pain and like they've got all these doubts, and then they're awake at like 2 a.m, like this isn't going to work. Like, what would you tell them?
I would tell them that, you know, when you catch yourself making up these excuses, just stop for a second, think, what the hell am I doing? Why am I making up those excuses? And just grab the goddamn excuse and punch it in the face, you know, because when I'm making those excuses, I just stop for a second and I'm like, what is my brain doing? Why the hell is it doing this to me? Why does it want to self-sabotage me, you know? And I just catch it and stop it at the moment because I know it can sabotage me, you know. It did it for 6 months. So what I would say to such people is, I mean, stop thinking and just do the work, you know. Yeah. Ignore all the bullshit your mind has to say.
Yeah, and like, you know, we cover this in the mindset training, which I'm pretty sure you've been through.
Sure.
But
I love it.
Yeah, to contextualize and summarize what Tony just said, like, when you are trying to build or do something, your brain, there's something called resistance, which is basically, it can manifest in all these different ways. It can manifest in doubt, it can manifest in anxiety, it can manifest by you doing stupid shit and like just ignoring that. But the first step is awareness, because like Tony said, he's not associating with it. He's not like saying, oh, this is me, and like, I don't want to do the work. He's like, no, my brain's just being fucking dumb. Like, I'm not going to listen to it because it's stupid. So, all right, what I'd like to know is, so we'd obviously talked about why you started the SMMA in terms of you don't want to do the 9 to 5, you feel like you're better, which I totally agree. That's the painful thing you're moving away from. The other side of motivation is the pleasurable thing you're moving towards, right? So what life do you want to build?
That has definitely changed from my joining of the group. When I joined the group, I had an idea I wanted to be like in the Maldives, you know, drinking some cocktails, driving some Lambos, but...
I don't think you can drive a Lambo in the Maldives, mate.
I mean, just making up some materialistic shit, you know.
I'm with you, yeah.
But with all these months passing by, I really just realized I want to do this for myself, to prove to myself I can do it. You know, I could drive a Lambo, but I can also drive a Tesla. That's fine. So
you have to do a Tesla. I mean, like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's really shifted. I'm trying not to be that materialistic now.
And where would you say motivation now lies?
Building myself up.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I cannot stay at the same level. I have to do something. Staying at the same level, no, I'm gonna kill myself, man.
I'm going to get demonetized now. Brilliant. No, I'm joking.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good. So with the SMMA, what I'd like to know is how many sales calls did it take before you signed your first? Because obviously you said you got before, like you were doing posts like I can't close clients and like, people aren't showing up. So how many appointments did you book and how many appointments did you conduct before signing that first one? And if you don't have your metrics, I'm going to tell you off, mate.
No, I have metrics. I'm logging everything in.
Because you're a member of EasyGrow, mate. Of course you got.
For sure. Yeah, we love metrics there. So with cold calling, I was cold calling for like 3-4 months.
Mm-hmm.
Had pauses and like raises and downs, you know. So it was maybe like 20 meetings I booked off of cold calling for all of that time, but really like only 4 of them showed up. So there was not much place to, you know, show my skills, as bad as they are for now. But then came Looms, man. And after the 3rd day of sending Looms, I just got 3 meetings in that day, which, you know, was chance and luck after all. But still, it proved the point that I can just send some emails, you know, without having a single word speak with the owner, you know, and still book meetings in. And they were so much qualified, and they 80% of the time show up, which is much better, and they really want to buy the product. They're not just there because I talked them into booking a meeting on the phone.
Yeah. Okay.
So Loom Alchemy booked me something like 15 meetings. It should be up until now, and I've taken almost everyone. So everyone showed up almost. Good. And so it's around 30 meetings and 2 clients.
Yeah. So that's good. Because this is the thing with early SMMA people, is you have this dream life and you're running away from something and you're running towards something. So you've got these 2 forces of motivation, right? And every problem you have feels 10 times worse because if you don't solve it, the thing that's chasing you is going to get you, and the thing you're running towards you're not going to get. So you know, if one of my reps was having a down month and they were like, Charlie, I can't close any call, I'm not closing, blah blah blah, I'd be like, well, over what period of calls have you not been converting? If that was any less than 30, I wouldn't even bat an eyelid, because we know that averages don't present themselves in small data sets. So you are posting like, I can't close, oh my god, and when you've done like 20 meetings with no previous sales experience, that's very normal. But because so much is on the line for you, it feels so emotional and so stressful. And that's usually where most people go wrong, is they start then fucking around with stuff and then switching niche and then like, you know, all this stuff. So what I found with mentoring people, I don't like the word mentoring because it implies that I have more responsibility in your success than you do, which isn't true. Guiding people, perhaps, is like, the main thing is just making sure that they don't make emotional, stupid decisions. Because like, realistically, if you think about it, if you've done 30 calls and you've closed 2 clients, right? Sure, that's not even a 10% sales conversion rate, but you've got no previous sales experience. And one thing I want to touch on is, I reckon that the reason you were able to convert those clients is because you did cold calls for a few months. Maybe not even successfully, but you actually had some practice talking to the niche, learning their language patterns, and articulating yourself, and basically not being afraid of a little bit of rejection and being bold on the sales calls. Do you reckon that has to do with it? Because if you
For sure, man. I loved cold calling, and you know, cold calling worked when I just relaxed and just spoke what I really wanted to say. Words came out of my mouth without really thinking, and that's what worked for me, you know, not being like, so do you want to book a meeting? No, you just stand there, talk to them like friends, and it really makes it better.
It's a good point. I mean, the key to acquisition is relaxation, especially in sales calls. You have to be calm, like just chill. But it's because like people they want the results so quickly and so fast. So I'm assuming you want to get to 10k a month, right? It's like your first goal.
Of course, the average goal, you know.
Yeah. What are you going to do when you get there?
get more.
Typical. I love it, man. That's good. So, in summary, I think I've asked you all the questions I wanted to ask you here. I wanted this to serve the purpose of, like, some other dude who's like 16, 17, 18, who started SMMA and who's going through that fire, basically. No clients, every day, just doing the outreach and doing the work. And I think that, Tony did it. So you can do it. And that's the point I'm trying to make here. And no offense, like, you're not a miracle child. You're not a prodigy.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you know what I mean? Like, this is the thing, like, I think a lot of people have this concept, like, this idea that in order to be successful, you have to be this, like, superhuman, and obviously you're an intelligent guy, you can articulate yourself well at 16, which is extremely rare for most teenagers, but it's possible, which is the main thing. So if you were... this is what I want to know, because obviously you've been through the shit. So you've now got 2 clients. You've made $1,000 off your own back by sending some emails and convincing people to buy from you. And a month ago, you were in probably the worst place you'd ever been, mental state, because it was so painful.
Yeah.
If you could go back and say something to that person that was doing that work a month ago, what would you say to them?
I would say to him, really ignore the pain, just hug it, get in love with it, actually start enjoying it, as weird as it sounds, but you just have to turn off your brain for a month. That's it. Turn off your brain for a month, do what your conscious is telling you to do, not what your subconscious is making you to feel better and to have life easier. Just listen to what your conscious has to say and just do the work. Turn off your brain and all your emotions. Do the work. You got this.
Yeah. It really just comes down to that, man. Like, how well can you not listen to your brain?
Yeah.
The longer you can do that, typically the more successful you'll be. So, dude, I think that's pretty much everything that I wanted to ask.
Incredible.
And like, I just remember, I found this video the other day on my phone. I recorded a video when I signed my second client. Unfortunately, I didn't do it for the first one. I really regret that. But I found this video, which is why I wanted to do this interview, because I was basically just shouting at my phone, like, oh my God, I signed another client. And this was £1,000 a month retainer, so it was huge for me. Because I was making like £3 an hour at the time. And I thought that it might be useful just as some sort of inspiration. So next time I interview Tony, it will actually be a client interview for EasyGrow. When he's gone from 0 to 10k a month and over the course of a year, that's when we'll actually try and sell the thing. But if anyone does want to go through the same program Tony went through, there is a link in the description. I do not give 2 flying shits if you click it or not, but it might help you get what Tony got. Please only click it if you actually are willing to work, because I don't want anyone to come in with this delusion that it's just easy, because as Tony can attest to, it certainly isn't easy. Simple, it's not easy. Tony, you're a legend.
See you in 1 month, Charlie, when I get to 10K.
I love it. Nice one, brother. See you, man.
See ya.